That's you. That's why she over there with you. She's scared of a real man.
Oh, Lord. That's funny.
So welcome, y'all. Another episode of Relationships. I am Lance Woods.
And I am AK Thrower,
Comedian Lance Woods.
Pastor AK Thrower.
Yeah, I mean, just so everybody know what we doing.
All right.
You know what I mean? This is another episode of Relationships. We got a lot to dive into today. So as a general topic, we're still talking about the state of relationships, and in this particular one, we was gonna start off talking about what they call in the Bible being equally yoked, but we are going to simplify that and break that down. And what was the way you
Why,
explained it?
why are people struggling so much with maintaining and continuing healthy relationships, whether it be marriages, which are ending at a clip at 61%. Last time I checked, might even be higher than that now. Or whether it just be single people dating. Why is it so hard now for people to start maintain healthy relationships? And that transfers over even into families, even into the church. Why are even in church it's so difficult to start and maintain healthy relationships? But it starts with the male and female, as we talked about last week. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
Okay.
So what's your experience with that? You're a single man.
As far now, hold on. What now?
Your experience with starting and maintaining relationships.
Starting and maintaining. So my main experience is because I don't misrepresent myself.
Okay.
So when I start a relationship, when I start things, it's always cool. It's fun for everybody. They like, oh, this is a good time. We get to do this, we get to do that. But I do not misrepresent myself. This is who I am, and this is how I'm living. So I tell people, and everybody's okay
In the
up front
beginning.
in the beginning. And then you realize, oh, you really are like this. Oh, you wasn't joking. Yes, I wasn't joking. This is it. Like, this is what it is. And I feel like the people I meet more times misrepresent themselves. They say, I'm okay with all of this. They say, oh, yeah, that's fine. They say they want something. And then when you are in it,
Right.
you say, oh, no, that's not. I thought it was gonna change.
Right.
I thought I was gonna convince you differently. I thought you just needed to have me in your life to realize what you actually want is what I want you to want.
Right, and that's a whole. I mean, that's a series. That's a series in itself. Yeah, I say all the time. A lot of times women feel like they can change a man. I jokingly sometimes I told you this. I'm just saying disclaimer. He told me to say this that the coochie ain't the Holy Ghost. That is just because you give a man sex don't mean he gonna change. The Holy Ghost is a change agent. It will change you. But just because you're giving a man sex don't mean he's going to change. And I think a lot of times women think that if I'm sexually involved with this man, that, it's going to change him. But the bottom line is, all women have sex or the tools of sexual intercourse. I will agree that some may have more one thing than the other, but they still all got it. And as a man that loves women, that's a constant with all women. So I don't think you should be banking your lasting relationship just on the fact that you have good sex or you can give a man good sex, because it's not going to keep him. And I think ultimately what happens is I've seen more bad men change good women than good women change a bad man.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I can be wrong. I don't know everything. I ain't never seen a woman change a bad man.
Yeah, never seen it.
No, but I done seen some toe up dudes
Yeah.
change a good woman.
Have her toe up too.
Have her toe up too. Leave her kids, leave church, leave, Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I done seen it.
Yeah.
But let's explain the concept of equally yoked. So the term equally yoked, the Bible says, be not equally yoked with an unbeliever. So that tells you right there that it's dealing with the concept of faith, of which you believe.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's hard to be in a relationship with someone if your belief systems are different. And I'm not talking about belief systems just in the terms of whether you Muslim or Christian or a atheist or an agnostic or a Christian. I'm not talking about. I mean belief on all things. How we were going to raise our kids. How we going to handle our money. I've been married 42 years. I've never shared a bank account with my wife. Now, a lot of married people get married. That's the first thing they think they need to do. Share a bank account. I got to share my money. I shared it. Why? She can handle her money. When it's bills to be paid, and for the first 10 years of our marriage, she had it. She paid most of the bills. The last 30 years, I got it. So I don't bother about her money. But just belief systems. How do you believe? How you believe in raising children?
So like that's why I wanted to simplify for people, because when people hear equally yoked, they think Christian was like.
You don't always work that way.
But it is like, okay, even like when you talk about raising children, right? So you're like you'll see people, and it's like you believe in spanking your kids, she don't.
Right.
How y'all gonna figure that out?
Right. And you both can be of the same faith. You both can both be Muslims, you can both be Christians and have different belief systems, because not all Christians believe what the word says. You know, I don't believe in beating my kids, but I do believe what the word says, that if you spare the rod, you will spoil the child. That it says that foolishness is bound in the heart of a child. I know it was in mine.
Yeah.
My parents didn't abuse me, but I got whoopings. It didn't make me a worse person.
I don't think my parents abused me either until I see white people's definition of abuse.
Thank you, boy.
I said, you know what? Maybe I should have called somebody after I see what they talk about.
Yeah, I didn't grow up with the term timeout.
No.
No, that wasn't a term when I grew up.
Knockout.
Yeah, knockout.
Wasn't no timeout.
My mom was a disciplinary, you know.
Yeah.
I think one time when I was about 16, I kept my mom from hitting me, and she told my dad, he didn't whip me, he punched me. Mm-hmm. But my mom, she go get a switch.
That happened with my uncle.
Go get that belt, yeah.
I remember the last time my mom hit me. I don't remember how old I was, but I just remember it was a point where she couldn't hurt me no more. And she realized that. Like, she hit me, and I was looking at her like, lady, what is you doing? And she said, okay. And my pops was gone, where my pops was at the time. So she called my uncle. And my uncle came, and this is how you know when you're really in trouble, is when they change the title of who they talking about. So before they say, don't ever do that to your mama. Then it turns into, what you do to my sister. It's like, yo, I thought this was my mama. No, what you do to my sister. Or when your dad come in and say, yo, don't you ever say that to my wife.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, that's my mama. No, that's my wife first.
Right.
And you don't even factor that in. And it clicked for you like, oh, he about to hurt you by his sister.
Yeah, because what I find as a pastor in the church today, a lot of Christians don't really believe all the word. Now, I'm not saying if you believe all the words, you always do it, but you still got to start at the starting point of believing it. Mm-hmm. You know? Like, I don't always believe in I don't always turn the other cheek. I believe in it.
Yeah.
But I don't always believe in that.
You just don't always do it.
I just do it.
You always believe in it, but it just ain't always.
Right. You know, so I think the real thing for being equally yoked, when two people get together, they have to have, you know, sure, you're going to have different variations of what you believe. Mm-hmm. But in essence, you have to believe the same things. For example, this issue of men being leaders. Mm-hmm. I believe in that. Mm-hmm. And I believe my wife believes in it, but she don't always act like it. But she still believes in it, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes she has a hard time listening or submitting. I believe that a man should love his wife. I believe that's important to a woman. Now, I don't always love her the way I should, but I believe in it. So I think you have to have similar belief systems, because if you don't, it's going to be such a disconnect between you and your partner that is what they call irreconcilable differences.
Yeah.
You can't reconcile the difference on how to raise the kids, how we gonna deal with our money,
Mm-hmm.
you know, how we gonna communicate.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't believe in screaming and yelling and fussing. Now we've done a lot of that in 42 years, but I don't believe in it.
Yeah.
You know, but sometimes it happens.
Yeah. I actually think that's actually what happens when you talk about that. I think people do not look for people who believe the same things as them. And I think you start off like that. I think when you first start to get into relationships, you got this list of things, and you like, I want to have this, I gotta have this, I gotta have this, and I think life starts hitting you, and people start going through enough stuff in relationships where they just start saying, okay, I don't need that, I don't need that. Just give me somebody.
Right,
Just give me somebody who won't leave. Just
right,
give me somebody who. Before it was, I want a career person. Just give me somebody with a job now.
right,
Just somebody to help out with these bills or these kids or whatever the case is.
right.
So I be watching people's.
And I think people are good in our society today, and I think social media promotes this. I think the general dynamic of how relationships are carried out. It's a lot of fake people. There's a lot of people who act certain ways that are not really who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing about a relationship, it will always reveal who you are, because in all relationships, it's going to come a time where it's some fire, where it's some hard times. And hard times always reveals character.
Yeah.
That's why you can't really build relationships with people with no character, because they're not going to be able to last through the hard times. So I think a lot of people have certain character traits and certain values that are not substantive enough that when they go through things, they can last, they
Yeah.
can endure. You know, I've been married 42 years, and it ain't been all good times. I mean, I got married at 21. I was a fool. I didn't know what I was doing. 22. My wife was 19. She was a fool too. So, we went through a period there, 10, 15 years, man, where it wasn't nice.
Yeah.
But we did have certain belief systems. Our faith in God's grace and his mercy and forgiveness. So it was a lot of grace and forgiveness that had to take place. But we both had to believe in that. What I see now, man, people cut people off quick, man, nowadays.
Yeah.
I know that I see a lot on Facebook, and they try to make it spiritual. Just because I don't fool with you, it doesn't mean that I need to, sacrifice my peace and well-being, And then you talk about your mama, or you talking about your brother or sister.
Yeah.
You're not talking about somebody that
You just met or something. This
just
is
met. You talking about a real significant relationship. But that's the kind of world we live in now.
the main one is people say, they say some people you meet for a season and some people you meet for a reason. Like that's how they do it. It's
Yeah.
like the riddle. And I be feel like when I hear that, I be feeling like that's a an excuse to not be loyal, or an excuse to not
Go
just
through
to go
things.
through things with people. It's like,
Yeah. You
no,
just
they
give
were,
up on 'em.
they were just here for a season.
Yeah. Now, I do believe there are some deal breakers. Like if I know you're a disloyal person, if I know that behind my back you're plotting my demise, if you're physically abusive, if you're sexually abusive, if you are out to harm someone, no one would suggest that you just stay there. But I'm talking about people that are human, that fall short and make mistakes, but that have been in your life and brought meaning and value and commitment and loyalty to your life. For you to act like just ending that relationship is some spiritual epiphany that you got, you full of mess.
Yeah,
Because the reason I say that, people could do the same thing to you, because you ain't perfect.
all the time.
Yeah.
All
You
the
ain't
time.
walking on water.
Yeah, but we so arrogant.
Oh, Lord. Especially some people.
Yeah, we so arrogant that we
Yeah.
we see we see our issues as small, and everybody else
else's
is
is huge.
like huge. Like, you did what? It's
Yeah.
like the same thing you did.
Especially women and gay men. They do that more than anybody. And I hate to say it, and I'll say this: an unredeemed woman, a woman that don't have God in her heart, can be one of the most self-righteous people walking on the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you see it all the time. They make these posts about men being dogs and they cheating, and any man that cheat, but they cheating with one of y'all. Why you ain't talking about the woman?
Yeah.
If he a dog, what they call a female dog?
I call her a bitch.
Yeah, then that means you must be a bitch because you're cheating with a man. It ain't just the man cheating.
Yeah.
And I believe this: sex only happens if a woman initiated. Anything other than that is called rape.
Yeah. Yeah.
Most men that get involved with women is because the woman is the one who initiated the interaction. He didn't force now unless he forced you.
Yeah.
But see, that's a self-righteous spirit. See, that's a spirit, and I said in gay men, I just feel like, when you operating in some form of lifestyle, like say I'm a habitual cheater, and I'm gonna tell you that it ain't wrong.
Yeah.
But see, you'll look at me if I was a habitual cheater, and you talk about me like a dog. But then you see someone practicing an aberrant lifestyle, and I don't have nothing against people that deal with homosexuality. I deal with sin. I just don't deal with that sin.
Yeah.
But when you deal with it and you try to make people think it ain't a sin, it just depends on, how you qualify sin and who are you getting your definition of sin from. If you're getting it from the world, maybe it ain't. But I think consequences and outcomes prove whether or not something is good or beneficial. You could drink on every Friday night for 10 years or something may not happen. But if you drink every night for 10 years, the outcome will show you.
Yeah, your liver gonna fail.
Yeah, that it's not good.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to talk about nobody's lifestyle, but just the outcome shows that whether or not something is beneficial.
Yeah.
Well, what are you talking about the outcome? Do I need to name things that are associated with that lifestyle?
I don't think you do.
No, I don't either. So, and, people have a problem with that. My point of reference comes from what God says, not from what people say.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my point of reference. If I'm cheating on my wife, my point of reference is I'm an adulterer.
But even so, like if somebody's cheating, because you use that example, just a habitual cheater, at some point, the consequences are going to show up. Your family's probably going to be destroyed.
You're going to have two families.
You're probably going to have some
like
outside
a lot of
kids.
dudes have.
Probably going to have some outside kids.
Right.
And you probably are not going to be able to be fully present for either family.
No. So it's going to affect the kids. Then the kids going to have a dysfunctional mindset about relationships. So now your son gets involved with, the man down the street daughter. And of course, since he's always mirrored what his dad did, he's not going to be faithful. He's not going to be committed. He's not going to be a covering for your daughter. So it perpetuates this dynamic that we see today. I mean, look at our communities. Look at it. I feel like the African community as a whole is doing better than they did 50 years ago, but only select blacks. I think as a whole, it's in worse condition because 50 years ago, we may have been poorer or less uneducated, but our families was more intact. We had fathers in our homes.
Yeah. But I think 50 years ago, from what you're talking about, is people believe the same thing.
You're right. Believe.
Now everybody has their own beliefs. And it's funny because, like, especially in show business, I get all kind of different beliefs from different people, different thought processes, different. You can do it this way. And when you hear them talk, if you don't know no better, it sounds like it makes sense.
Yeah, it sounds like it's.
Like it sound like what you just said makes sense. Only difference is I know that's crazy.
Right.
But what you're saying is like, Oh yeah, see, so why would I do that when I could just do this? See, brother, if you just and you just be
Right.
sitting there like,
Right.
okay. And I could understand how somebody else gonna hear that and be like, nah, he preaching. That's deep. I'm I'm like, nah,
You hear that all the time.
this nigga
I
sound
mean, like,
crazy. Yeah.
yeah. Even it's a lot of so-called Christians that believe in a lot of secular humanistic thinking.
Yeah.
Because they think God's way or what the word says doesn't really match or isn't relevant to the world we live in, when in fact it is relevant. It's relevant to all humanity because if you believe God is a creator, he knows the creation, just like Henry Ford knew the Model A Ford. He made it.
Yeah.
So even though you live in a technological advanced world where we have a different kind of environment and atmosphere that we operate in, and we deal with things differently, we're still human.
Yeah.
We're just as the same humans as humans were 500 years ago,
2,000 years ago.
2,000 years ago.
Yeah.
So there are still certain values and traits and things that just work
So me and
for humans.
me and my boy had this conversation all the time, and his theory, I think, is brilliant. I think it's correct. He doesn't think humans have evolved. He thinks technology has evolved, but human beings, he doesn't feel like evolved. And when I'm looking at what he's saying, like it makes sense to me.
Right.
I'm like, oh no, we do the same things that we've always done. Like men are still men.
Right.
Women are still like it ain't
Right.
like no brand new thing. It's just technology has evolved, so we have different access to.
Well, you can see that with pornography. I mean, if you look at the ancient Greek and Roman civilizations, they were just as freaky as people are today, but they didn't have pornography.
They ain't have cameras.
Yeah. And they weren't able to spread all that kind of filth
Yeah.
all through the airways. So now your 9-year-old daughter, your son, is looking at graphic pornography.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when I first seen porno. I think everybody found their dad's stash. But my dad had the VHSs.
Right.
So then that means you had to rewind it back to the place where it was at, or else he would knew that you was in his stash. You know what I mean? So I remember, and he had that old porn, that 80s porn, when everybody was just hairy and sweaty. There's no Brazilian waxes in these movies. This was full cave woman, caveman, Jerry curls, all the chest hairs, nappy bushes. But even that, even early, shaped what I liked sexually
Right.
because I didn't know nothing other than what I saw.
Right.
So it was like just these big hairy women.
Yeah, and I mean, look at the increase of sexual crimes in our society. And people like, well, like I'm just read articles today about, you used to only hear men molesting children, but now you got these women teachers on a large scale molesting male children. And I don't care what anyone says. A lot of that has to do with the proliferation of pornographic images, that this 30-year-old teacher probably been looking at since she was 6, or that her brother or cousin was looking at when he molested her.
Yeah. This is the teachers sleeping with the students.
Yeah. Yeah.
I shouldn't have dropped out.
Yeah.
I should have stayed in school, man.
Yeah, so let's get back to this topic about why it doesn't seem like relationships can really stick together and develop and grow and maintain a healthy relational dynamic. And we talked about being evenly yoked. What the picture is it talks about with an unbeliever having same belief system, or at least agreeing that, yes, we do believe in how we raise our children. We are in agreement with how we handle our money. We are in agreement with how we deal with our spirituality. This is an agreement that we have. But the picture is two oxes being yoked or connected together so that they can plow or work. So the analogy of being evenly yoked is one that speaks to that relationships are work. And I think that's where a lot of people mess up in relationships. You get in these relationships and you got all these Google eyes and this starry vision and romantic vision of this guy or this girl. And then the first time some work got to be put in
Yeah.
because you realize, yeah, she fine and she look good, but she don't do that good when she on her period or in the morning, or she doesn't handle uh, uh, criticism very well,
Yeah.
or he isn't really a strong leader.
Yeah.
It takes work.
Yeah.
It's an analogy of work.
Yeah.
You know, you don't stay in a relationship without work. I believe there are romantic aspects to a male female relationship. I think men are automatically romantically attracted to women and sexually, a
Mm-hmm.
real man.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe a real woman is romantically and sexually attracted to a man. But that isn't the whole dynamic of the relationship. And I feel like the example of two oxes being yoked together so that they can work, when that dynamic isn't brought into the relationship, that, hey, are we committing to work in this relationship? Not only work in terms of achieving success as a team, because that's why you yoke two oxes together so that they can work together as a team. Are we willing to work together
Mm-hmm.
on our relationship? Are we just going to quit because, I didn't get my way?
Yeah.
Or I keep having to deal with this same issue with you.
Yeah. I tell people when you gonna deal with somebody, hopefully you find out early on how they respond when they're angry.
Well, that's really when you see the
The
other side
the
of
other side
someone,
is
right?
like,
Because, like I said, people fake a lot, especially in the early stages of dating.
yeah. So, because if you're dealing with me, you're gonna be angry at some. I'm going to do something that makes you mad,
Right,
and it's normal. It's not intentional, but I'm like it happens all the time. It's like, my career is so first right now,
right,
and I'm not the type that's like, it's your birthday, let me put everything down and let's go do your birthday thing,
right,
because I don't do that for my birthday. On my,
right,
on my birthday, I be trying to put a show together. We about to make some big money on my birthday.
right,
You know what I mean? It's Thanksgiving. Well, what a Valentine's Day? Valentine's Day's big for comedy shows.
right,
Everybody want to do a Valentine's Day show. So Valentine's Day, I'm not thinking about going to get a million roses and doing that. I'm trying to go figure out, okay, where's the show at tonight?
right,
Who gon' because these is like big big paying shows
right.
on these holiday shows. So I'm going to make you angry. I'm gonna hurt your feelings. Like I know this. How are you going to respond when that happens? And I'm not gonna do nothing intentional. I'm not rude. I'm not mean.
Right.
I'm like the nicest, sweet, all of that. But
Right.
I know these things are going to disappoint you. I'm telling you this now, so hopefully they don't disappoint you, to try to soften the
So,
blow.
how do you deal with disappointment when you're in a relationship with a girl or a woman and she does something that angers you or disappoints you, or
Yeah, that's interesting. See, every woman I deal with has always said I'm too nonchalant. It's almost like I don't care.
yeah,
And
that's probably what irritates them.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't really be disappointed. I don't really be having high expectations.
Not like that.
Yeah.
Where
Like
you just all,
nah.
yeah, I'm kind of like that too. I'm the type, I don't really stay mad. I could have a disagreement with you, and then within an hour, I'm talking to you like it never happened.
Yeah.
And then I'm wondering why you still tripping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they want me to be more mad, because I guess to them that makes them feel like I care.
Right.
But that's not how I show that I care. Like I'm not, like once I said it, I said it.
Right.
Yo, stop doing that, and we can move on. As long as you stop doing
Right.
that.
How do you show you care? I already know the answer to this, but I just want you.
How do I show I care?
Yeah. How do you feel like you show you care? I know how I do.
I show it by consistency.
Right. I'm here.
Yeah.
If I didn't care, I wouldn't be
I
here.
wouldn't be here. And
Yeah. Now,
see-
that's not to say I have no concern on how I'm here. Sure, I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to get better at wiping the toilet seat off after I pee and picking up my socks and, considering you when a decision needs to be made and
Yeah.
asking your opinion. I want to get better in that. But the bottom line is, I'm here.
That's how I be feeling. But and then see you've been with your wife since y'all was young, 20 in your early 20s, 19, 20 years old. If I meet a woman who's 31, 32, 29, let's say she's been dating since she was 17.
Right.
So now I got to deal with 14 years of whatever you've dealt with. The same way you got to deal with whatever I deal with. What the difference is, I'm very conscious of it, and I'm not bringing that to you in a way that feels like you have to make up for
Right.
what happened before. It's like, nah, you got a clean slate, but just know that this is how I am. So maybe you don't have a clean slate because I'm this way.
Well, I think sometimes there's a thin line, and it takes a balancing act for you to desire or require that a person changes who they are versus, no, you don't have to change who you are, but growth is something that often includes change.
Yeah.
If a plant grows, it don't look the same after it done sprouted roses and beautiful foliage than it did when it first broke ground.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people aren't willing, to change or grow. They just feel like, well, this is what I brought into the relationship. Then why are you requiring that, you need something more? Well, I understand that to an extent, but to another extent, I don't understand. I mean, if I was still doing the same thing to my wife that I did when I was 22, 23, 24, 25,
Yeah.
we probably wouldn't have lasted.
Yeah.
Because, I grew up in Vallejo, Beverly Hills. So, I my pen was strong. I wouldn't say, you talking crazy, I'm trying to shut you up.
Yeah.
That's just how, and she grew up fighting dudes. So, we was a mess.
Yeah.
So we both had to
grow.
grow.
Yeah.
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 But I just think sometimes people are, you said it earlier, sometimes people are so full of themselves because I truly believe this, pride and insecurity are a part of the same continuum. I think some people are so full of pride because they're insecure and they won't change.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that. Y'all, when I seen you and your wife, that was the first time I had seen a couple like argue but like be together. See, cause like my parents would like argue like heavy, but they wasn't together. Like they would like have blow ups, and then I wouldn't see my pops for a while, or he would go like, you know what I mean. But I remember I might have been helping you move or something. I was helping you do something, and you and your wife got into this argument, and it was like how my parents did, and I was like, oh, okay, this ain't just them. Like it was.
No.
It was.
Well, and I think that's what people need to realize. I counsel a lot of people in marriage, and I think a lot of people think they're the only ones that go through certain marital or relational issues, and you're not. Everybody does.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't always get along or act right, or
Yeah.
people are human. So they do fall short. I think not only do men, in many ways, idolize women, femininity, and sexuality so much, I think that when they do see that she's human, it's difficult for them sometimes to deal with that. And I think sometimes women may even portray themselves, you look at everything's perfect. My hair is perfect. My eyelashes is perfect. Most men, when you go into a restaurant, they don't spend 5 minutes on the sun visor, making sure they look. They just like, come on, let's go.
Yeah.
But women have a tendency to want to put an emphasis on that, where the Bible says that you should also put an emphasis on the inner man, the hidden man of the heart. adorn her too. She needs to be adorned, with the right attitude and learning how to communicate.
Yeah.
Because I also think that equally yoked dynamic when it comes to male and female is that men should exhibit masculine energy, positive, not toxic, and women should exhibit feminine, positive, feminine energy.
Yeah.
I don't want no woman acting like no man
Yeah.
or with no masculine spirit when she get mad. I don't want her in my face like she want to fight. I'm
Yeah.
like, really? Or talking crazy. I don't take that off dudes.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna do a whole lot of talking with nobody.
Yeah. But the difference is men watch how they talk to each other to an extent because I'm gonna have to fight this person if I talk like this. A lot
Yeah.
of women don't have that.
Mindset, right.
They don't. You feel like you can just talk to this person any kind of way. That people get punched for that. But then you never hit a woman, so now it's this conflict. Yes, you don't hit a woman, but women don't
Provoke
provoke.
a man physically.
Don't be in no man face talking like you want to fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's just the reality. It's like you got to watch how you.
Or even things like talking to, your man like he's your child. That's
Yeah.
not gonna work for most men. And even a weak man, he'll take that, but he'll cheat on you on the side
Yeah.
behind your back.
You're belittling him.
Yeah, you're belittling him. And if
Yeah.
if it's another woman that's trying to build him up or faking like she really think he's all that,
Yeah.
he's gonna bite.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You're gonna bite hard, baby.
yeah. I mean, so I think being equally yoked not only does it mean having similar belief systems about not just about God. I think when you say that, people automatically think about God. But there's a lot of people who say they believe in God, but don't believe in the principles, in the values, in the teachings of God.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's a mistake to marry someone just because you think they're a Christian.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, no, that's why, because I think a lot of quote unquote Bible terms are more practical than people think, and I think it's important to say them, but then break them down in a practical way so people can
Right.
understand like what these things mean.
Right.
Because people say equally yoked and say, oh, they go to church and I don't, so we got to be equally yoked, but that's not what
Right.
that means. Now with that, this is something I see all the time too, and I'm sure you see the same thing, but you can elaborate. You talk about men changing women versus women not changing men, and so on and so forth. I know there's so many women that I know personally, this is people I know, will be into church, meet a guy who's not, and then they stop going. They don't never bring him. It's very, very, very rare when I see that.
Right.
So then my question be this: what do you actually believe?
Right.
You feel what I'm saying?
Right. So if your faith is no stronger than the fact that you just met somebody,
Yeah.
then I'm not sure what the degree of your faith was. And then a lot of people will say this, well, I'm just going somewhere else with them. And it's like, well, I still ask you, if your faith in the people that you were connected to spiritually was no stronger than that, I still have to ask you what you believe.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, the church is not a building that you go to. Ultimately, it's interpersonal relationships, people developing relationships based on certain values and principles and standards, like grace, which is unmerited favor, like supporting one another, like comforting and suffering with people and telling the truth in love.
Yeah.
No, these are principles. These things work. I don't believe in this worldly spirit that because I tell somebody the truth, I don't love them. Man, that's straight from the pit of hell. Because that's the enemy's surefire way to keep people bound and defeated. Because now you're afraid to be honest with them.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the opposite. If I won't tell you the truth, I don't love you.
Yeah.
Because I don't care if you going to hell. I don't care if you marrying a serial killer. So I ain't gonna tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, the world will tell you that. Oh, yeah.
I always feel like that's people that want something from you.
Yeah, that's
Like
always
people,
telling you the truth.
yeah,
You're right, though.
yeah. No, who won't tell you the truth.
Oh, who won't tell you? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah, it's
You're
like
right.
they want something from you.
Right.
So if I tell you the truth, I might not
I'm
be able
not
to
going
get
to get
what I
it.
want. So, but once again, you talk about
Well, that's big in the church now. That's why in a lot of churches, you don't really hear no real word. You hear a lot of ear tickling and sugar coated. You don't hear no real talk about what people are really dealing with. Like if you're like a lot of times I talk about sex in the sermon, and you should hear it. Well, you have heard
Yeah.
how quiet it get and how uncomfortable it gets
mm-hmm.
because people don't want to deal. But we all sexual beings. The
So,
Bible is full of examples of sexual dysfunction and craziness.
people walk into church and they put they church glow on.
Yeah,
But I feel the exact same way with like men and women. It's like you go on a date
Right.
early. I'm talking about the early stuff. When you first meet
Right.
somebody, trying to get to know somebody, you put what Chris Rock calls his representative,
Yeah,
right? So when you meet somebody, you don't really tell them the truth.
no,
Most people don't really tell them the truth.
right,
I tend to tell more of the truth.
right,
So because it's like this is what I because I wasn't always like this, but this is the point I came to. I don't want you here just to be here.
right,
I need the right people around.
right,
And if I don't tell you what it is, then I don't know if you're gonna be the right person.
right.
So this is what I'm on. This is what I'm doing. This is how I'm living. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, why we want to waste our time?
Yeah.
I've said many a times with people that I've pastored and been a part of in ministry that ultimately you find out what they're really about. And I say to myself, it ain't that much fronting in the world. I wouldn't vain myself for 2 years to be something I'm not. But that happens in relationships all the time. Why would you have 3 kids and a baby mama, and the girl you're talking to now don't know it until a month, 2 months later? That should have been the first thing you
The
told
first thing you say.
her. Yeah,
Because you feel like if I tell the truth, they might leave. Let them go.
they might.
Yeah. That's the power. Let them
Yeah.
go. If you hear now, you hear.
Yeah,
It's like if you go on a job application. You ever had one of those jobs when they never tell you how much money you making? Like you
right.
just do the interview thing and they like, oh man, it's great and you're a great employee. It's like, oh okay, cool. What about the pay? And they keep telling you about other stuff except
Right.
the pay, and then you find out the first day you get there, it's all commission based.
You're right.
And it's like, I mean, I could be a salesperson who don't mind that.
Right.
If you would have just told me, but now that I'm here, I walked out of a job like that in LA.
Yeah, I don't blame
We
you.
was calling people, and people would hang up on you most of the time because I didn't even know exactly. I wasn't no salesperson. Calling people, hey, what? I forgot we was selling
Yeah.
something. So I don't remember what it was, but we call and sell.
Well, you live in a fake world when people call reality shows something that's
Yeah.
manufactured
Oh yeah.
or something that there's a script for.
Yeah.
It ain't a reality show.
Oh no.
No. Yeah, we live in a real fake world, man.
Anything you see on television is manufactured.
Scripted, yeah.
No matter what it is, no matter what channel you think is real, if it's
Yeah.
on that television, it's scripture.
And
It's
people
scripted.
practice being fake.
Mm-hmm.
People practice it, and I think people are intimidated when you don't. Because I've been around people to where I could just feel that they're uncomfortable around me
Yeah.
because I ain't fake. You know I ain't fake. It's something about me that you know that if you get in a certain place, I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah. So, but you know how necessary that is. Cause we'll be in a room sometime, and there's always that one person who says something that everybody else was thinking. And when that person says something, people will look like, but don't, you want to say it too. You just scared.
Yeah.
You just scared to say it. We all feel it. We all
Right.
see what's going on. but that one person was bold enough to say something.
Right.
And sometimes when they say something, they don't say it the right way. They don't say it proper.
Right.
But that's why you're supposed to back them up because they just
Right.
told the
So
truth.
you can bring some more context to it.
But they just told the truth that you wouldn't tell,
Right.
but that you felt,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, but I feel like all that affects relationships, man. They say that couples that argue are healthier than couples who don't. Because all of us gonna have things that we disagree on. And if I'm so fake, I won't even say nothing about it. I'll be fronting and playing a role and acting like it don't bother me, and then I leave, and I got another woman across town because I can't get through to you, or you won't listen to me. Instead of us just talking about it, and it turned into an argument, but at least we got it out. At least we dealt with it.
Yeah.
See, and no, I don't like arguing. I also don't think it's healthy to have to argue with somebody all the time.
Yeah.
Because that's just bad energy.
Yeah.
But I also think it's also bad energy to be fake.
Yeah.
It may be easier to be fake,
Yeah.
to where you ain't gonna have to confront issues, but in the long run, it's not gonna last. It's gonna fall apart because it's not being built on anything that's solid.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not gonna be real.
Yeah.
And that's where I feel like a lot of people are in relationships, especially people who have experienced relationship trauma, And then I think, and I feel like the reason life is so difficult now is because I think there's no balance. The word, when Jesus healed people in the Bible, he said he made them whole. The word whole means he's brought them back into balance. And I think the reason we experience so much relationship dysfunction is because things are not balanced. Because I think on the same token that we don't want to deal with truth, so we may not say anything just for peace sake. But I think on the same token, some people is just full of drama. It's like you making a molehill into a mountain.
Yeah.
This is everyday life. If we got to argue about the SMUD bill,
Yeah.
we in bad shape.
Yeah.
We got to argue about, where we going out to the restaurant. No wonder I don't like going out with you. Because every time we try to go out somewhere, turn into a big old disagreement or argument. Don't nobody want to deal with that. So I think it's balance.
I'll always name two places. Like if a girl says she want to go, I say, hey, you want to go to Cheesecake Factory or BJ's? That's how I do it. Like I don't just say where you want to go.
They got big menus at both them places.
I just throw two spots out. Like, yo, you want to go here? You want to go here? If you just say where you want to go, oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. Ooh, I kind of want seafood. No, man, but they got I don't know. What do you want? Oh man. Okay. Wait, cause no, I don't want you to have to go way out there. Cause okay. You know what? Never mind. And that's why you know what? Never mind. I don't want to eat no more. I say, yo, you want to go here? You want to go here? And then they're more likely to pick one, and you have a good time.
Right.
Yeah. Psychology I learned a long time ago. Don't put too many options out there. Just 1, 2.
Yeah, because some people get confused if you give them too many options.
Yeah. And so when you talk about the state of dating, relationships, all that, that's what you just said. Some people get confused when you give them too many options. So if you talk about, let's just talk about right now. Okay, if you go to work, like most people dating, they meet people where they at or where they go regularly, meaning they meet somebody at church, they meet somebody at work, or if they go out, they meet somebody at the nightclub or the bar, whatever. That's usually how you would meet people.
Right.
Or you grew up together, your family, school, like places that you go all the time together. You see these people, you kind of get to know them like that. But now you got the phones, you got the internet.
People
so
confused, huh?
You can just meet people.
Dating apps.
But everything is a dating app now.
Right.
Like I know people who've met people on Craigslist.
Right.
I know people who've met on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. It's like,
and the sad thing is, you really don't know them, even to the extent that some of them be catfishing.
Yeah.
It might be a dude with a picture looking like Haley Berry.
Oh man, I remember when I was in LA. So this is when I first moved to LA. We was on this was when MySpace was big. So on MySpace, you could type in your zip code and or whatever zip code you wanted. Type in a zip code and you could put like 5 miles, 10 miles, 15 miles, 20 miles, and it would the radius those people would pop up. So then I was on MySpace, I put in whatever zip code I forgot the zip code I was in North Hollywood. 15-mile radius. Give me every woman on the app. Who around me? I'm copying and pasting the same message to every woman. See who bite. This is me trying to meet people in LA. I met this girl named Nasty Trina. That was her name. Her name was Nasty Trina.
You ain't right.
So we going back and forth a few times. And then after like the 5th message, I was like, yo, I think this a dude. And I start looking at the pictures. And I was like, oh, nah, hell no, that's a dude. And I told my boss, I said, hey, look at this. And I was like, I don't know. I said, nah, I know. I just kind of say, if I gotta question it, I'm out. I don't need to find out. Like I believe that no. But you talk about catfishing like that, and people follow through with those things. You know what I mean? Just for me, once I had a strong enough suspicion, I was like, oh, I'm okay. Like I don't.
And I think we live in a society, it's like the old adage say, you cut off your nose to spite your face. I think having all those available relationship opportunities, whether it be through Facebook, I mean, I get messages and friend requests on Facebook all the time, and all it be is women. You know, I get probably 70% Facebook requests from women, and a lot of them you could tell they just trying to find somebody they could get over on. Or they think
They're looking for a sugar daddy.
A sugar daddy, an older man, or some dude that's stupid. You know, they don't know. Like I said last session, I still got my player card. It's just laminated. I know how women are. I know women. Very well. I had a mama. I got sisters. I got 3 daughters and a wife. I was involved with a woman, a grown woman at a very young age. So that stuff don't even fly with me.
Yeah.
But I think because you have all those options on the one end, I think the other side of that is that you never really get, and I think this is what you were getting at. You never get to really get to experience or develop real relationships because of so many options. And then I think the other thing that it does, it makes you think that being in a dating or marriage relationship is what you should have. And that's not always the case.
Yeah.
I don't think everyone should be married.
Yeah.
I don't. And that's biblical.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it's biblical to say this. It's better if you ain't married. That's biblical.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, if the word says it's better to marry than to burn. He said, but if you ain't burning, if you just ain't, in our world it's so screwed up today. If I tell you I'm not interested in a woman sexually, the first thing you're gonna say is
You gay.
You gay. That may not be true.
Yeah.
I may not just be interested in sex.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But see, we got everybody convinced that, you need to be in a relationship. You're not in a relationship? You're not in a relationship? Some of y'all don't need to be in relationships.
Yeah.
Some of y'all need to be in a relationship with yourself. You need to work on you before you put that pressure on anybody else.
On somebody else, yeah.
Yeah.
To have to deal with that.
Relationships hard, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Man, you had said something. You said something right before that.
About the options?
About the options. And this is what I think the main issue is people think they got a bunch of options, but they don't have good options. They just options. It's like
Yeah, options.
they're just options. It's
It's like shopping at a used car lot.
yeah, it's
It's
like
a lot of cars,
it's a lot of lemons
but
in
we
here.
don't know what's under the hood. Yeah, we don't know. And you know, that's why I feel sorry for single people sometimes. You are one of the few single people I don't feel sorry for, because I know you're not. I know you're not. But some of them, I be like, poor thing. They just really feel like they need to be in a relationship, because you're not needy like that. Some people are so hungry and needy, men and women, and a lot of men are. I feel like the roles of men and women are being switched up, and I believe this because the word says Eve was deceived, and I say this all the time. The average woman who don't have a clear conscience about who she is in a relationship with God is deluded.
Mm-hmm.
I believe women operate in delusion and deception a lot, but I believe men like Adam, they ain't deluded. They just toe up. They know what they doing.
Yeah.
When you lying to that girl because you want some coochie, you know what you doing. You know you are not interested in this woman being your girl. You know that. She
Yeah.
might think you are because
Yeah.
she deluded.
Yeah.
But you just a damn dog. You just a no good nigga. See, and that's I'm sorry, excuse me. That's one thing I ain't never been. I ain't never been the type of dude just to take advantage of a woman because I can.
Yeah.
Like, I remember when I moved up to Sac, I grew up in Beverly Hills in Vallejo. Oh, man, all these country Sacramento brothers was trying to tell me I should be a pimp. I told them that's an insult. Why would I want to be a pimp? First of all, I got way too much going for me to be a pimp. Second of all, the only kind of women you dealing with as a pimp is silly, deluded, crazy women. I
Go
ain't got
get us.
time for that.
Yeah.
I like women. I mean, I've been married. I like the companionship, but mostly I like women sexually.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like women just to be around all the time. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think most. I can't say most. I think that's a big part of men and women is like men want sex.
But men are becoming more like women, and women are becoming more like men.
Yeah.
So now you got a lot of men that are deluded.
Yeah.
They deluded, man. And they deluded in this sense. They really think they catch.
Yeah.
It's a lot of dudes who really think they catch, man. I'm like, dude.
Yeah.
Man, if you such a catch, why you ain't got no woman? Because the women you done had found out what you really was, and they don't want nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Even before I got married, most women that broke up with me came back.
They always come back. That's why I tell dudes that all the time. That's why you gotta stay consistent. If you really believe something, you gotta stand on it. Because she's going to come back.
Because once they got out there and saw what was out there,
Yeah. It's cold outside.
they was like, man, that was a good dude.
Yeah. It's cold. It's cold outside.
Yeah.
It's freezing out there. You hear me? So you can go out there if
Yeah,
you want to.
I be looking, I be like, Lord. Most of these dudes, they don't have what it takes to put up with no woman.
Yeah.
Because, man, dealing with a woman, especially these women, with all the cultural trauma we've been through, men and women, all the historical trauma we've been through, most of y'all can't deal with no woman.
Yeah.
Especially no black woman. But even these white women, they're crazy. These white women crazy, man. Man, I dated all kind of women before I got married. White women, Asians, Mexicans, blacks.
Mm-hmm.
I married a black woman. But ain't much difference between none of them. Because one thing about American women, they've been taught not to embrace their femininity. So most of them don't really know how to operate on a feminine level with a man. And see, I'm a man. I'm a real man.
Yeah.
I ain't perfect, but I'm a real man. I'm not dealing with no woman on a masculine level.
Yeah.
I just won't fool with you.
Yeah.
You know.
Elaborate though when you
Well,
say.
I can elaborate on several terms. On a relational term, I'm not dealing with no rough woman, no woman I got to be fighting and arguing with.
Mm-hmm.
On a relational term, I'm not dealing with a woman who won't take my advice, because unless I'm crazy or stupid or a fool, then I know how to lead. I've been a leader my whole life. I was a leader before I knew I was a leader.
Yeah.
Because I never tried to be a leader. I feel like that's true. Like an alpha male. An alpha male don't have to tell nobody he an alpha male.
Yeah.
If you telling people you're an alpha male, you're not an alpha male.
Probably not. Yeah.
Right. Just like I said last session, I ain't never told my wife I'm a man. You know, getting an argument, I'm a man. I ain't never did that.
Yeah.
I don't do that. So on that level, I'm not dealing with no, if you can't follow or take my advice, I'm the leader. You'll tell me that when you mad at me and I'm trying to tell you to do something.
Mm-hmm.
You the leader.
Or when something going wrong.
Yeah, something going wrong.
When
you'll tell me that.
The lights get cut out.
Yeah,
it's
you the
dark
leader.
in here,
You the leader. Right. So on that level. But even sexually, I'm not gonna deal with a woman on a level even sexually to where I cannot embrace her femininity. Like you'll never wanna, rub my back, or you never wanna, I mean, I guess I don't know how explicit we can get.
Just say whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Whatever you want out in the world, you can say.
Grab my. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I believe the man too, but I think what men do, they shut down from being that masculine, sexual, for lack of a better term, predator with their woman, because sometimes they don't feel that feminine energy.
Yeah.
And I feel like women do that with men. I feel like they don't feel sexy.
Yeah.
So they don't. And what I don't think what most women understand about a man, it don't matter if you 15, 20 pounds overweight. If you acting horny and sexual, it's gonna turn a man on.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna move that little gut out the way.
Yeah. It's gonna turn them on. But if you done got so insecure but then what gets me is you got with your girlfriends and you be looking like Marilyn Monroe. You have your hair did, you put the,
Yeah.
The coochie huggers on, you just hugging your booty and your coochie is being hugged. And I'm like, damn.
And that is another episode of Relationships.
Yeah. I mean, come on, we got to help each other out. I think that's the thing about being yoked up, man. It's about helping each other, man.
Mm-hmm.
I got to learn how to help you be a woman, the best woman, and you got to help me be the best man I could be. And you ain't going to do that by circumventing my position. That's what Eve did. You talking to the snake, and then what I done told you done went out the door. God told me to tell her, don't eat that fruit. But you talking to this snake, he convinces you to not only eat it, but to get me to eat it.
Yeah.
You out of pocket. And then Adam, he out of pocket too, because he's a wimp. And that's what I see with most of these dudes, man. You ain't got to, they say that men today don't have the testosterone that their fathers and grandfathers had because of the environment, because of the food. And I believe it, man. A lot of these cats, man, they cupcakes.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying you should be no beast or no abuser, but man, exhibit some stand-upness, conviction, man of your word, like I ended the last session. You need your nuts, man, in this world. Period.
Is that what you call that? The regular ending now? That's how you know when it's over. You need your nuts. And we'll see y'all later. Next episode.
Right.
Make sure y'all got y'all nuts.
Relationships on YouTube. Check it out. Lance Woods, A.K. Thrower. All right.